Yeah, welcome to all to the new series of e-learning programs for teaching and learning English. Now we will begin the lessons with a critical examination of the most popular strategies used in the classrooms. Okay. Now suppose you are teaching English for the beginners. How do you like to begin it? Anybody?
Showing them some objects which they can relate to their mother tongue.
Mm-hmm. Showing objects. Could you give an example for that?
Like book, pen.
And what will the teacher say?
This is book.
This is a book.
This is a
this
pen.
Is a pen, like that.
Like that.
Okay.
Maybe by showing them pictures and telling them about the picture.
Same thing. Either you are showing concrete objects or showing a picture, which amounts to the same thing. Okay? Good. What do you think? Strategy.
I think I can demonstrate actions like I can say sleeping and walking.
So in the class, would you like to sleep? Demonstrate sleeping action?
No, to tell them that when sleeping, there is a word called sleep.
So you'll also give a an explanation for that.
Yeah, expression.
Okay. So demonstration is not enough. You have to explain it also.
Yeah.
This is what you think.
Of course.
Fine.
Yeah.
Somebody else, this side.
Yeah, we can use the words from their mother tongue, and then we can equalize it in their target language. For example, we can ask, means if we know, of course we should know their mother tongue also to a little extent, and save can be called apple. In that way we can introduce the words.
Fine. So it's again introducing words.
Yes, sir.
So is there any basic difference between what you said and what Mr. Prithviraj said,
This was almost a kind of
almost same thing.
Almost same thing.
So you are introducing words,
yes,
either with the support of objects or pictures.
Yes, sir.
Your only modification is that you will be depending on their source words.
It will be more learner centered.
Probably. Yes. Yeah, you want.
We can use rhymes, like songs. We can play.
Do you recall any rhymes?
Yeah, it's like Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. Like we can play the song and then we can. Yeah.
So by learning a series of rhymes, any other option for you? You are saying something. Yeah, sort of.
It's not an option that I have, sir, but it's an observation that I made. My neighbor's kids go to a school where they're taught lines. When you ask the kid as to what A is, he says one slanting line, another slanting line, and then a straight line. For B, it's one straight line and a curve, another curve.
Again, it's introducing letters of alphabet only.
Absolutely, yeah, through alphabet.
It's a different strategy you are using.
Absolutely.
Maybe probably more enjoyable. Activity oriented. Fine.
Maybe we can ask the students to bring some realia like apple to the classroom, rose for the rose, apple, rose, orange, or some objects to the classroom for realia.
Yeah. So again, you're talking about almost the same thing. From 1, 2, 3, 4 persons already talked. You introduce words, okay, and that is how you begin. And one gentleman said you can show some actions and say sentence like, "I am walking." Not probably sleeping, I'm walking, or I'm closing the door, things like that. Any other strategy comes to your mind?
So we can introduce gestures like how to say good morning, or when they're introducing themselves.
Gestures? Good morning, it's not a gesture,
Expression.
Okay, fine. Okay.
And supposing they are making friends, once they enter a new classroom, they are a bit skeptical of mixing around with other students. So how you should start the, how should I say, interaction. Like, hello, I am so and so, and I come from here, where do you stay? So I can teach them.
One question is you are saying, okay, I am coming from Kerala. Where do you come from? You are talking to children who haven't listened to any English before. So do you think they will understand that?
If I can use the mother tongue here, like how.
So your strategy is saying in English sentence and also putting into mother tongue.
Yes.
That's what you say.
Somewhat.
Somewhat. Okay. Not very sure. Okay. Anything else that comes to your mind? See, these are all popular strategies used in classrooms, and for decades we have been using that, probably across the country. Now, and these things have been happening in the classroom in a taken for granted manner. There's absolutely no need to critically examine whether these strategies really work or not. Okay, so I think we have to have a serious look at each of these strategies and see whether they are really good for acquiring a language. Okay, so shall we go into that? Fine.
A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z. Divya, can you show me the alphabet K? K. K. Very good, thank you. Swati, can you show me the alphabet N? N. N. Very good. Madhushalini, can you show me the alphabet D? D. Very good.
Several thousands of teachers across the world prefer to introduce a language, say English, by teaching the letters of the alphabet. Probably they will showing pictures, as you said, showing A for apple or any popular thing that they know, and then introduce that way. So why do teachers begin with the letters of the alphabet? What could be the reason for that? Can anyone say anything about that? Do you understand the question? Several teachers would like to begin with the alphabets. Why? What could be the reason? And we can see almost all the primers which are circulating in the market, you can find that every primer contains some pictures and introducing A, B, C, and parents are too eager to buy this kind of material for their children. So why do these things are taught?
The teachers understood that, they think that alphabets are the most basic thing to be taught towards students for learning English.
Okay,
they understand. Yeah, they think like that.
Any other reason? Look at the language. Now you are talking about introducing words. Now, which is a small unit? The word or the letter, which is the smallest unit? Which is the smallest unit of language? Letter or sound, whatever. Now, there could be a rationale for introducing the smallest unit. What could be that? Instead of introducing big passages, it is gone in this way: letters, then words, then sentences, and then larger passages. What could be the reason? Yes.
Could be from simple to complex.
Simple complex. Yeah, let's take that point. So, the letter is the smallest unit of language, but do you think that really simple for the learner? What is the criterion for defining simplicity? Now here it appears that the size, smallness is the criterion used for defining something as simple. If that is so, if smallness is the criterion for defining simplicity, why don't you begin teaching with atoms in class 1? In language, letters are the smallest unit. You begin with the understanding that these are the smallest units and they are simple, as you said, progressing from simple to complex. Now, applying the same token, now why don't you begin with teaching atoms? They are the smallest units of matter. Is it possible? Why? Why is it possible in English, letters? Why is it not possible with atom?
Like for English, it is a kind of based on kids. When they are infants, they start with syllables like sound. So maybe this kind of teaching is based on infants' behavior. But
really? So how do mothers talk to the children? Does any mother, any sensible, and mothers are sensible, any sensible mother talk, ka ta ta pa, today's lesson is over. Does mother do that anywhere?
But this
No, the mother talks to child.
Yes, sir.
And she's not talking using only sounds. Maybe the child is producing only sounds. Does it mean that the child can understand only sounds? Doesn't mean. So what makes something simple is not the size, but whether the child can experience it. The child can experience a table, because he can see it, touch it, smell it. It is tangible. What about these strange curious creatures called A, B, C, D? They are not anywhere. They are beyond the experiential level of the learners. So something beyond the experiential level of learners, do you think they will be simple? They'll be very complex, very abstract also. So that strategy is to be re-examined, whether you have to begin with the letters of alphabet or not. Because in mother tongue we didn't do that. If we didn't do that in mother tongue, is it necessary for English? Say yes or no. Yes. Okay, so we can't begin with the letters of alphabet. Now take the next case, introducing words either by showing objects or by showing pictures, or even using their own words only. And the teacher shows a pen and says, this is a pen, and shows another object saying, this is a book, and it goes on like that.
This is a pen. This is a pen. This is a pencil. This is a pencil. This is a watch. This is a watch. This is a bangle. This is a bangle. This is a book. This is a book. What is this? This is a box. This is a box.
So when the teacher shows a pen and says, this is a pen, will the children understand that? What do you say?
Difficult to comprehend. They will not.
They will not. But teacher is showing an object.
They will only remember.
What is your opinion about that?
So it will be difficult for them to understand, but if the teacher will explain the use of the chair, they might be able to understand in that way.
Yeah, but the teacher has to teach this is a pen.
This is a
There's
pen.
a teaching agenda also. Prihira, you want to say something? Yeah.
See, explaining may not help, but if the student is able to, as we discussed, touch and feel the object.
Well, the child can touch the pen,
right? But he or she can remember the object when the
Why can't he touch that? No, student can touch the pen, take in the hand,
Yes.
and teacher saying this is a pen,
Yes.
and this is a book,
Yes.
this is a table, and there are many objects in the class. So will they get this? That's the question.
Maybe by repeatedly giving examples, like this is a pen, this is a book, this is a chair, and maybe by repeating it again and again, they will understand, oh, this is implying.
Will they
to
understand?
something. Maybe they'll get an
So
understanding.
what is your
not
understanding
clearly.
about understanding something?
Understanding in the sense
Just getting a notion, maybe.
No, I will repeat my question. You're saying probably they will understand or they may understand. So what is your understanding about understanding something? What do you mean by that?
If the student has some previous knowledge about this object, then they'll able to understand it more clearly.
You are not responding to my question. My question is, what do you mean by understanding something?
using
When you are you are listening to some talk, some language which you are not familiar with. Okay, so what do you mean by understanding that?
relating to your previous knowledge or relating to your world knowledge and whatever the dealt subject is,
Okay,
and able to use it.
okay. You want to say something?
Yeah,
Okay, then
actually
you
I
can
was,
pass the mic.
I'm going to say the same thing. So there is a word called pen, and there is a concept behind that word, pen, right? So if we can associate the word and the concept pen, then we are making meaning of it.
Yeah.
Right?
So don't you think that association is that mental process happening?
Yeah.
Yes,
Of course.
yes. The child is listening to a
So,
sentence and
yeah.
trying to decode that sentence.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So when a child hears the word pen, he immediately goes back to his mother tongue, and maybe if he has seen that object in his life, immediately he'll think about a word in his mother tongue and try to associate the word pen with the concept in his mother tongue.
Okay, we'll come back to this question again.
Yeah.
What do you think is the connection between language and thought?
Language is the input that goes into the head, be it any language, English, which are mother tongue, and the processing is thought for me, and the output is the maybe the action.
What do you say about that? Try to connect the two concepts, language and thought. Are they connected or not? If
Yes.
so, what?
I feel it's connected.
Yeah, then
Like, so when we are saying something about now we gave an example about a pen. So when we are saying this is a pen, the child is trying to connect in the mother tongue and trying to process maybe the use, the concept
if it is
of
a use,
the concept of the.
but the sentence says this is a pen.
This is a pen.
Don't you think when the teacher says this is a pen, a corresponding idea is to be generated in their mind or not? Is it necessary or not? To understand something, to make sense of something, some utterance, a language which you are not familiar with, when you are listening to that, you get a kind of idea in your mind, and if that idea matches with what is said, if there is a correspondence between what is said and what is registered in the mind, if that idea is exactly the same as what has been said, probably you can say that the child is able to understand that. And language, of course, is a tool to express our thought.
So let me tell you this. There was this lady who's walked up to me and said, "Je m'appelle Daniela, je suis étudiante." I don't know French. I didn't know it then.
Okay.
I'm talking about 2000 something, early 2000, 2001, 2002. I did not understand a thing. When I go to my students and say, "This is a pen," my student will not understand that because it's not familiar. He's not familiar with those words because I was not with French words. So the same thing will happen even
Exactly.
if I show it to him. If he doesn't know a pen, he will not understand.
Yeah, so there is, let's come to this understanding, at least to begin with. So the teacher is saying a sentence like this is a pen, and if a corresponding idea is generated in their mind, we can call it they have understood that sentence. Now the teacher is showing a pen and says this is a pen. Some child will be looking at the color of the pen. This is a blue pen. I like this pen. I have a similar pen at home. Okay? These are the ideas generated in the mind of the learners when the teacher says the sentence, this is a pen. So there is no correspondence between what the teacher says and the ideas generated in their mind. Obviously, they are all related to pen, but not exactly what teacher has said. This is problem number 1. The teacher shows any object, it could be a picture or a real object, whatever, that picture, that object triggers a number of ideas in their mind which have nothing to do with the idea said by the teacher. Okay? Problem number 2. When will you use a sentence like this is a pen? When will you use a sentence like this is a pen or this is a book? What will be the context for that? Did you get my question? Yes.
When we were about to write something, when we were about to do something, like with the pen. Yes.
Then that is not the question. No, this is a pen. You have to use this is a pen.
Demonstrating.
When will you use that? Think a little deeper. Give me context where human beings will need to say a sentence like this is a pen in any language. It need not be in English.
When I'm introducing it to somebody or showing it to somebody
or
demonstrating it.
Think for that. When will you ask a question, what is this?
When I don't know.
You don't know. So there's a question of identifying an object, right? Every sentence has a certain communicative function, and the communicative function of this particular sentence is to identify an object. Okay? Now the teacher is showing a book and says, this is a book, or this is a pen. Is the pen a familiar object or unfamiliar object?
It's a familiar object.
It's a familiar object. If it's a familiar object, what is there to identify? Which means the communicative function of this sentence is not registered. So when there is a need to identify an object, we use a sentence like this is a pen, and also to introduce somebody, this is Mr. So and so. Okay? But these functions are not registered by these activities, showing objects and saying this is a pen, this is a book. So what is the use of a sentence devoid of its function? Now there is another problem also, yet another problem. Okay? Now look at sentence like this is a pen, this is a table, this is a pencil, and so on. They are all disconnected sentences, discrete sentences. Okay? Will any human being, produce discrete sentences devoid of a context? Who will do that? Mad people. So are you giving training to how to become mad in class 1 by showing disconnected sentences? This is a book, this is a table, this. What exactly is your objective? Giving training for how to become mad. If you have any doubt, go to the road and start producing some disconnected words and sentences. How will people rate you? So no sensible human being will do that. So this doesn't have a context. Well, you may say there is a classroom context, but that is not the language context. Right? So at least 3 major problems are there in an activity which has been happening in the classroom for years and years. And people never problematized it and sensed the real problem behind it. So don't you think it's a pedagogical issue? Yes, of course. Okay. Another popular strategy for teaching English, quite commonly used in our country, is to give them certain dialogues which are meant for practicing.
Children, listen to the conversation between 2 characters, Sarada and Usha. Sarada, what are you going to do after school? Usha, I'll go home and take rest for an hour. Sarada, then when will you cook supper for your children? Usha, I needn't cook today. I made some pulihora in the morning. We'll eat it for supper too. Sarada, forgot to tell you this. I planned a quiz for 6th class children. Are you coming tomorrow? Usha, I won't. I am taking leave for 2 days. Now sit in pairs and read this conversation. Which pair wants to role play the conversation?
I am Sarada. I am Usha. What are you going to do after school? I will go home and take rest for an hour. Then when will you cook supper for your children? I need it. Cook today. I will make some pulihora in the morning. We'll eat for supper too. Forgot to tell you this. I planned a quiz from 6th class children. Are you coming tomorrow? I won't. I am take leave for 2 days.
Now let's go for another pair.
So children are asked to role play dialogues. taking the roles. Now, when children role play a dialogue given to them, will they be using language? Will they be producing their language, or just reproducing something given to them?
Reproducing.
Reproducing. In real life, do we produce language or reproduce language?
We produce language.
So what's the use of role playing something?
No use.
Memorizing something. You can memorize it. And you have typical context like, a conversation at the vegetable shop, or a conversation at the railway ticket booth, to buy a ticket, whatever. And it is expected that by practicing these dialogues, when a similar situation arises, learners will be able to produce that. But it doesn't happen. Okay? And the same thing happens, with asking and eliciting answers to comprehension questions. I suppose you know what I mean by comprehension questions. Every passage will have a number of questions.
Have you completed writing the answers? Yes. Yes, Feroz? What is the answer? It is given in the first paragraph.
A boy fought with the tiger.
So why are we asking these questions? Can you tell me one reason? Why do we ask comprehension questions in the class?
To understand the comprehension of the student, or how well the student has comprehended whatever has been said in the passage.
Okay. Right. So any other objective for that? Because every lesson there will be a number of questions, and it so happens that in the annual examination also children are asked to reproduce these answers. It's all memory based kind of examination going on. So how is going to help the learner to develop communication skills? When a teacher asks a question, a comprehension question, and elicit a response, does it help to develop communication skill?
In one way it will.
What way? Please explain.
Reading helps written communication. Comprehension means whatever they understand, they have to reproduce, they have to write in their own words.
What do you mean by communication?
Expressing our views and opinions in a proper way.
Whose ideas are expressed there?
Along with
the learner's idea? Is the learner's idea? There is a question. The question is typically an information-based question in the textbook. Okay? So it's not the learner's idea. Almost all of the comprehension focus on the information given in the textbook.
It depends on the question actually.
This is the kind of question that is frequently happening in all the questions. So if that question is there, it doesn't promote any communication, because it's not the child's idea, nor is it the teacher's idea.
I agree, because when I was in school, I was said, okay, paragraph number 3, first line bracket starts, and paragraph number 3, fourth line bracket ends. So I'm just supposed to remember that and write it in my answer paper.
Right, exactly. So even if you ask 1,000 questions of that kind, probably the only communication that happens is locate this information or give me this information. And have this communication, it's enough that you ask one question. Why do you ask them to? Of course, you have to check whether they have comprehended. Now there is a pedagogical issue here. Which will be better, to ensure comprehension or check comprehension? If you can ensure comprehension, use a pedagogy that can ensure comprehension. Will there be any need to check comprehension? So we have to think about a strategy to ensure comprehension rather than checking comprehension. I don't mean to say that you shouldn't check comprehension at all. It may be needed. Okay. So as I said in the beginning, we are just trying to critically examine some of the most popular strategies and trying to identify the problems inherent with each of these strategies. Yeah. So now let's recapitulate what we did. What were we doing till now? Anybody say?
Popular strategies what we are using till now.
Like what?
like showing some objects, alphabet, teaching alphabet,
then
reading comprehension, how
words,
they work,
introducing words,
sentences,
and saying that. So what problem did you understand that?
The popular strategies what we are using seems that there are some problems, pedagogical problems.
Now, how to overcome these problems? That's a pedagogical issue we'll take up in the next lessons. Okay, thank you.